In the last episode, Joost came on board in Cairns and we sailed north via Port Douglas and we visited several reefs.
First stop is the Low Isles.
We had an encounter in one of the evenings just before dark with I think between 10 and 20 beautiful small whales.
Barrier Reef is only 4 miles north.
Cook went up there in the 18th century to find the way out of the reefs by looking where they were.
We go to the inside of the Great Barrier Reef. There's a passage for freight ships as well. Pretty variable, between 13 and 25 knots.
So we started with one reef in the main. We might have to put the second one in, but it's not necessary now.
You see the apparent wind is 15 now, so it would have been on the high end of the Greatcircle. We're playing it safe. The code 0 is only 95 square meters instead of 185. Predict wind said we should go between 12 and 13 knots now. Well, with the full main and the Greatcircle we probably could. The forecast says gusting 33 for today.
The forecast for the next week was constantly a little bit more wind, like every day a little bit more. It was a little bit over 300 miles that we had to go to the north. So we thought, let's just go in the weekend and go in one stretch. At the beginning we could sail with the code 0 and one reef in the main, and later on when the apparent wind speed became too high, we just rolled in the code 0 and continued with the Solent.
It's a cargo ship going to Horn Island, same destination as we are. It's going 9.5 knots, so we should be able to pass him as well. That'll be interesting.
Still closing in on the cargo ship.
It was a sort of a stupid move. But later on you found a very good solution for the constant jibing.
Well, if we would have gone straight, then we would have crossed the barrier reef and would have been in deep ocean again. Behind those reefs on our starboard, it gets 1,000 meters deep right away. So we stay in the shipping lane, like the cargo ship that's going to Horn Island.
And because the wind was straight in the back and we had to be careful for the reefs on the left and the right hand side, we constantly switched between 150 degrees and dead downwind. I tried to explain to the captain of the container ship, don't worry. We have to sail angles of 30 degrees because he was thinking, what is she doing there in front of me? So we must have been a pain in the ass for him.
We did earlier can work, but it's not safe.
So now you can control it with the winch. You put a long line on it.
That's a big ship coming at us, 235 meters. So we're finding the best position to make the jibe back to butterfly again. De compromise komt met de kiertje, dat ze nu op moet zetten. Als je op een andere plek is.
I personally prefer the waves on the ocean because here in this whole area in the inner reef of the Great Barrier Reef, it is 20, 30 meters deep, sometimes 10.
We have to jibe one last time before we hit the reef.
Early in the morning we saw Nop Nop and Blue Way. They were going to Margaret Bay and stayed there for the whole day and had another night of sleep. We knew that we could make it in the daylight completely to the north to Mount Adolphus, so we decided to continue.
Mount Adolphus Island, last part of Australian mainland. So 320 miles in 32 hours. We're really close to Thursday Island already. So we're on Adolphus Island and it's not very busy over here. I saw a bird, I hear some birds, but that's basically the only sign of life. It's difficult to get to the beach as there's a coral wall in front of it. Not really sure whether it's croc territory here. In the Gliwo you're never alone for a long time. So there are 3 boats on their way here. There was not a lot of information to be found about Adolphus Island. So I went on the internet, using our Starlink of course, And I found an episode of Sailing into Freedom. Well, it was most interesting. We got a lot of information from this channel. So if our water maker breaks, we know now where to get fresh water. From here it's only 20 miles to Thursday Island, where we will check out when we leave for Indonesia. But before Thomas, the son of Joost, will arrive. He arrives on the 13th, and Marijke will leave back to Holland to celebrate new life. That's your last trip, Marijke? I think most boats are already going to Horn Island today. Nop Nop and Blue Way in front of us. And Agapi that we already met in the Mediterranean and we saw again in the marina in Cairns where Nino was. Is next to us as well. You had a lift there? So we have the beam monitor on the second line, which is connected on the top.
This is for mountaineers, for mountain climbers. So I'm hanging on this one. This is just coming down with me and coming up with me, and then when this one breaks, then this is the safety line.
Oké, ja. Maar dat doen ze bij Automeer dus. Dat vinden ze fijn. We're making use of Marijke while she's still here. And she is the only one who wants to go up in the mast. And it makes sense to double check every connections on both on the spreader and on the top of the mast. And she already found that the cable of the radar was kind of loose. And she's putting some tie wraps on now to make sure that it stays against the spreader. And it's not possible that one of the lines gets behind it. We were lucky this morning that the wind is gone for, well, a bit. Let's hope that it stays like this for half an hour. It's no fun to be up there in 27 knots like it was the whole day yesterday. It's a bit wobbly now because there was a boat passing. 24 meters above the waterline. 24 and a half. Yeah.
It's quite high.
So it's not as high as on the previous boat, that was 4 meters higher. But still more than high enough for people with fear of heights.
Thomas arrived today and he is going to join Mark and Joost to Indonesia.